Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday.
Tuesday.
Oh my gosh, yes, you guys, it is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I even forgot myself. I'm so used to saying happy Thursday. So, a special thank you for joining me on this very unusual night. As you know, normally our videos are on Thursdays, and of course today is Tuesday, and right off the bat, I'm just going to say there's no video this Thursday. So as of next week, we will resume our Thursday videos, but right now, again, thanks for joining me on Tuesday. And happy Hanukkah, happy holiday season, whatever you celebrate, Merry Christmas. Today's the sixth night of Hanukkah. So I hope you are enjoying the warmth and the light in your homes. Okay, guys, I have so many fun projects for you. I have icicles and sun catchers. So let's get started. Okay, so let me first start by defining what I call an icicle versus what I call a sun catcher. And of course, any of these can be a holiday ornament for your beautiful tree. And I have to say that I have an ornament for all different tastes and all different flavors. If you have a Caribbean tree, I have something for you. If you like snowflakes, I have something for you. If you like nostalgia, I most definitely have something for you.
Fonda says, good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday.
Hi, Fonda. And happy Tuesday to you, my friend.
Lonnie says, good afternoon. I remembered.
Hi, Lonnie. Yay. Good job for remembering. Guess what? I remember too. I remember to show up, but I forgot what day it was.
Ellen says, hi, Irina and everyone.
Hi, Ellen, and thanks for joining us. Okay, ladies. So I'm just doing a little bit of you know what? Let me go in order. This way I will not miss anybody or any icicle or ornament. But I will actually start by saying that from last week, this was my most popular ornament. This is blue spruce, and it's sold out, and then we were able to restock it. So we're only able to restock about 12 more, so I know they're going to go quickly. And if you were hoping to get a blue spruce, please do not wait, because there's so many vintage components in this. We will not be able to restock it after this time. So just 12 available, and of course they're in the Etsy shop. And the video for the blue spruce was it last week, right? It was last week. Okay, in the meantime, I have so many different ornaments to show you today, and I categorize the ornaments as either icicles or sun catchers. And this very first one is the shooting star icicle, and I do have it in two different colors. I have it in Northern Lights and Glacier. So here is the Northern Lights. That's the Crystal AB with this kind of like a magical aqua lavender color. This one, and then of course Glacier is the one in the blue. Oh, wait a minute, I have it backwards. So the blue icicle with the aqua star. And this is the shooting star icicle.
Trudy says hi, everyone.
Hi, Trudy, and thanks for joining us.
And Carmen says hi, all.
Hi, Carmen. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful evening. Okay, guys, and next we have the Blue Baroque Icicle. So the Blue Baroque is this one. I think it's pretty fun with the tassel. A lot of the Baroque aesthetic includes the blues and the silver and occasionally the tassels. So this is kind of a longer one with lots of movement.
Cheryl says hi, everyone.
Hi, Cheryl. And again, thank you all for joining me on a different night, on this very unusual night. I was wondering if anyone would remember, and you guys did. Yay! Okay, so this one is pretty fun, and I think it's kind of special. This is called Holiday Memories. So with Holiday Memories, here's what we have. We have the star. We have the Christmas tree. Of course, we have the snowflake. And then we have the big present right underneath the Christmas tree. And the bottom cube, just to give you a little bit of an idea of the size, it's really quite a large size. It's 14 by 14 millimeters. And that is a very vintage Swarovski. These have not been made, I believe, since the 60s. And so just here, it has all sorts of different sides. And next, we have Turquoise Lagoon Icicle. So if you love turquoise, if you love this kind of beautiful color that evokes being somewhere tropical and special and warm, this is Turquoise Lagoon. And then we have the Dragonfly. Oh yes, so I was going to come back to icicles versus sun catchers. So whenever I make it very straight like this on memory wire, I normally call it an icicle. So this would be an icicle, and the Blue Baroque would be an icicle, and then of course Holiday Memories would be a sun catcher. Just, I don't know, it just makes sense to me. And so when I make sun catchers, generally they are linked and they're made out of regular jewelry wire as opposed to memory wire. So next we have our little golden dragonfly, and this is the Dragonfly Icicle. This too is a vintage Swarovski drop, and there's a little more Swarovski and Preciosa in this icicle. And next we have, what did we call this one? Is it the Golden Snowflake Icicle? It's a, I'm sorry, not the icicle. It's a Snowflake Suncatcher. So this one is very similar to one that I made last year. I kind of changed it a little bit, and this is actually one of the sun catchers that I will be demonstrating at least a part of. And I love these beads. So just wait till you see these beads and how they stack up. Obviously you can see them, but it'll be kind of fun to see them in action. And last but not least, we have the Beachcomber Icicle. And this is, so I have 3 different versions of the Beachcomber. And this is an actual shell. This is the cone shell. Hence, this is, instead of the color, we have the style. And we call this one cone. And the shell, of course, I hope that you can really see this well. If the camera picks it up, I'm hoping. It has these beautiful silver highlights. So this is the cone in Beachcomber. I'm running out of room. And next we have Coral Reef, of course, because this one is so fun and multicolor. So that's what it looks like. And again, that is a natural shell with silver highlights. And actually no coral, just reef. We just called it reef. Nice and simple. Okay, guys. And last but not least, we have Nautilus. So I'm going to put this guy down, and this is the Nautilus. And that is my little collection that I'm either demoing or doing a show and tell today. Okay, so let's get started. So we have already established that anything that's done on memory wire, and of course the reason one would use memory wire, the reason I use it, is so that it's very, very straight. And even, you know, like as you are putting these ornaments on your tree, of course we want to be able to handle them. You can, you know, barring just really badly abusing them, you can bend them a little. You know, I know they're going to be stored in some type of a box, so we don't have to baby them too much because, of course, memory wire is very, very sturdy, and so it should hold up. And let's see. So I am starting with the shooting star icicle in Northern Lights. And so I suppose let's just let's grab our shooting star icicles right here.
Sabrina says hello to all.
Hi, Sabrina, and thank you so much for joining us. Oh, actually, I'm going to position them this way so that I have a little bit more room. So this is so quick and easy. And so I have to say, just the other day, one of our lovely customers who likes my ornaments and likes making the icicles was asking me for pointers on how to make the icicles and always be sure to not break the beads at the ends. I don't know if anyone else has had that type of a problem. So today I do have a couple of fun tips for you on how to make this nice and easy. So I am going to start by bending the wire about ½ an inch from the end, or maybe just a little bit less than ½ an inch. Probably ½ an inch is good. And I'm using my flat nose pliers like this and making a 90-degree angle. And this is how you would always make a loop. This is obviously not a wrapped loop, but a simple loop. So because memory wire can be a little bit hard to work with, it's so sturdy. So we have a slightly different technique than just making regular loops. So I am going to use my round nose pliers, and unlike working with regular jewelry wire, we're not actually going to start at the very, very end, because normally I always say, please start at the very end of the wire. Well, this time we're actually going to start maybe 2 or 3 millimeters in, and this is going to be a lot easier, ladies. And just use your round nose pliers to start making that loop. And don't worry about closing the loop with your round nose pliers. So this is the tip. So once you get to about this point, it would be so much easier to simply use a crimper to close that loop. So use the oval opening on your crimper, so not the kidney bean shape, but the one that's closest to the tip of the pliers and looks like a little kidney bean. And we are simply going to grab the two sides like this and bring them together, and voila. Very simple, you guys. And somehow I managed to make it a little bit off kilter. I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit bent like this. So if it happens to you, no worries. Just use your flat nose pliers to course correct. And that's it. So now we're simply going to string our beads onto the memory wire. So we have the drop, and then I'm using these very large rondelles. These are blingy rondelles, and they're actually 12 millimeters. They're quite large. And in between the rondelles, I am using the round faceted beads. And these are, oh, I don't know, maybe about 16 millimeters or so. And because the rondelles are just a little bit concave, they just cradle those round beads beautifully. So we're going to string all of our round beads, and then we're going to finish with another rondelle, and of course another teardrop. And that's it. That is the entire pattern for the shooting star. Okay, so now this is the part where we're going to be very careful not to break our bead. So the best way to do this is really actually very, very simple. So the best way to not break your bead is don't start bending the wire right next to your bead. So leave about 2 millimeters or so between the bead and your flat nose pliers. And just like that, I bent the wire. And what I didn't say is we pre-cut all the wire for you. So whichever ornament you get, you always get the exact length of wire. So please do not feel that you need to cut it. Now, should you ever need to cut it for whatever reason, please use your memory wire cutter and not your regular cutter. So again, I am just making a loop, and of course it's always so much easier on my hands if I simply use the crimper to close the loop. Okay, so you're probably wondering, wait a minute, where is the star? So we'll put the star on right now with a little jump ring. And oh, guess what? I forgot to grab a flat nose. Sorry, a chain nose. I have a flat nose. I am just grabbing a chain nose. Good thing that all my tools are right here in this room. And like we normally do, we're going to use the flat nose and the chain nose to open our jump ring and just slip our little star right into the jump ring. And what I like is when I look at my little icicle here, if I have a larger loop and a smaller loop, I will always put the smaller loop toward the bottom, whether there's anything hanging from the smaller loop or not. I just find that a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And of course, we will close the jump ring the same way with our chain nose and our flat nose. And when you hear that click, you know you're done. Okay, ladies, so we just made a shooting star icicle. So that was pretty easy, right? And all of them are super, super easy, I have to tell you that. However, with some of them, you really kind of have to keep in mind that there might be a little bit of a trick. Okay, ladies, so now I'm moving on to this next icicle. And the next icicle, I feel I also need to demo because that's the one with a little bit of a trick. And all the other ones, however, are very, very straightforward. So all the other icicles, I'm pretty much just going to do a little show and tell. Okay, so again, we're going to use our flat nose pliers and bend the wire to a 90-degree angle. And this is the Turquoise Lagoon icicle. And this one is a little bit longer, so I didn't really feel like it needs anything at the bottom. And so the same way, I'm just going to close my loop with the crimper. See, it's so easy. Please don't try to do it just with your round nose. And I know that everybody at this point has a crimper. So I am just going to pour all of my components onto my work surface. And I'm going to start stringing with this slender little teardrop. So you can see it's a little tiny teardrop. And the way I make most of these icicles is so that it has a tapered end at the bottom and a tapered end at the top. So that's why I use a lot of these little teardrops. And next we're going to need one of these little snowflake spacers and then a rondelle and one of these very large bead caps. So can you guys see how very, very large the opening is on that bead cap? So whenever I have a component, maybe it's a bead cap, or maybe it's the actual bead that has this very large hole. And I love these beads. These are actually made out of clay. They have this very kind of arty feel, and I wanted to use them. And also I will say that you don't really find a lot of large round beads with small holes. So very often when we use these beads, we need to center them, and that means somehow we need to fill that hole. Maybe we fill it with a piece of wire, but you know, it's actually faster and easier to fill it with a few seed beads. So in this case, we are using 8/0 seed beads, and I can't tell you how many you're going to need because each bead is just a tiny bit different. They're made by hand. They are made out of clay. So you use as many as you need. You do have enough beads here and then some to fill the hole, but you just kind of, you just pay attention to where you are, and you want to fill it plus one more bead. And the reason it's one extra bead once you fill it is because there's a little bit of a gap between that blue porcelain bead and the top of the cap. So once you have filled that, your next rondelle goes on.
Patricia says, hello to all. I forgot, no demo on Thursday. Oops.
Hi, Patricia. Yes, but thank you so much for remembering. You did join us, and that's awesome. And again, I'm just so happy that you guys joined me today, because I know it's not our usual night. So whatever you did miss just one, Patricia, and you can always rewatch. And the one you missed is actually very intuitive. It is the Shooting Star Icicle. It's this one right here, and it comes in 2 different colors. And so that's all you do. So every time you're about to string one of these large turquoise beads. Okay, so this is a perfect example. So you see how the bead doesn't just want to slide right on to the seed beads. And that's because in this bead, the hole is just a little smaller. So no worries, we'll turn it around and maybe, yep, it slides part of the way. And then we still want to put a seed bead on the bead and maybe even another seed bead, because we do want to fill that little bit of space between our turquoise bead and the bead cap. And we continue. So just one more set. So obviously the drops and the rondelles just have a standard hole, so we do not need to fill that hole. It's only whenever you have the large bead, so it's really quite intuitive. And you have about 40 of these little seed beads, so I promise you, you will not run out. Okay, ladies, almost done. And okay, one more seed bead. And the bead cap goes on. And then the rondelle, the snowflake spacer. And the snowflake spacer, in addition to just kind of being decorative, it also has a little bit of a function. It cradles both the, well, it cradles and separates that little slender teardrop and the rondelle. Okay, and now we are going to make a loop. And again, just a quick reminder, we always want to leave a little bit of space between where we bend the wire and the top of the bead. So just make it a point to use up all of the wire, and then you don't have to cut any of it off. Okay, and we close that loop with the crimping pliers and done. Ta-da! Okay, guys. So again, this is the Turquoise Lagoon Icicle. Okay, so next we are going to move on to the sun catchers. So let me put away these beads. We're not going to need them again. And we're going to move on to the sun catcher. So this one I think is really, really fun and special. I called it Holiday Memories, and there is a lot going on here. So let's start from the bottom. I always like starting from the bottom. And so there is a long head pin at the bottom, and we're going to need our 3 different sizes of cube as well as the bow. And I think that most of you have probably made these types of earrings before, except this is quite a bit larger. Okay, so we're going to stack up all of our little gifts that go underneath the Christmas tree. And you know, I have to, while I'm making these, I have to tell you that you can use these in so many different ways. This would be a fun handmade gift for, well, anybody who enjoys decorating a tree. It could be a Secret Santa gift. It could be a hostess gift. It could be a stocking stuffer. Okay, ladies. And so because I've heard some people just share with me that they have a difficult time getting into that little dip in the bow as we make the wrapped loop. We're also going to put a little 8/0 seed bead on top of the bow, and then we're going to make our loop, and it's just going to make it so much easier.
Kim K says, Happy Tuesday. I almost forgot about today.
Hi, Kim, and happy Tuesday to you, my friend, and I'm so glad that you remembered. And whatever you missed, you can always rewatch later. Okay, ladies, so I made a 90-degree angle, and now I'm using my round nose pliers to make the loop. And of course, when we are about to make a wrapped loop, we want our loop centered, and we want this wire pretty close to a 90-degree angle. It's going to make it so much easier to wrap right into that little space that we left for the wrap.
Allie says, fun. Had a meeting for work, but we'll watch the whole tutorial later. Beautiful projects.
Thank you so much, Ellie. Well, I'm glad you made it, even just for a little while. Okay, ladies, so I made my wrap loop, and wait, did I not grab a cutter? You know what? I forgot to grab a cutter because I was thinking, again, I'm just grabbing a cutter right now.
Because it's Tuesday.
Well, it's Tuesday, and that really threw me off. But also, I was really thinking icicles, and of course, you never, ever, ever want to use your regular cutter on the icicles. Please don't ever use your regular good cutter on memory wire. Okay, so we're going to tuck in that little and now we're just going to set it aside. Maybe we'll turn the cube a little bit like this. It'll just show more color. Okay, how fun is that? Just like that. It's just fun already. Okay, ladies, so then we have this finding. It's a round finding, and I feel that when we use the finding, it just kind of makes our tree framed. It frames our tree. It makes it more significant. And so this is going to be not exactly tricky, but just a little bit different from how we normally do things. So this is what we're going to do.
Allie says, this is a really beautiful present. How big is the bottom cube?
Oh, thank you, Allie. It is
14
it
millimeters.
is 14 millimeters. And I thought I would mention the ring is actually two-sided. So whichever side you want out, of course, you'll see the other side from, however you hang the ornament. And of course, it'll probably be hanging in your tree, or maybe in your window. So whichever side you like best. So that side will be out. Okay, ladies. So this is what I'm going to do. I will first make the loop, the larger loop that goes through the tree. And for that, I'm going to make a 90-degree angle. And this time I'm actually leaving a little more wire because it's a larger loop. I'm going to be using my medium-size bail making pliers, or else you can also use the very largest part of your round nose. For me, it's just easier to use my bail making pliers because I can tell that's the right size. And so before I wrap the loop, I'm going to open up the loop and put my tree right into the loop like that. And now we will wrap the loop. So I'm just holding on to the loop with my chain nose pliers, and just a couple of coils will do it.
Fonda says, I just ordered the turquoise lagoon icicle.
Oh, thank you so much, Fonda. Is that your favorite? Well, it must be your favorite. I guess that's kind of a silly question, right?
Allie says, wow, awesome. I see it's an ornament. It would be fun on a necklace if we didn't follow all of the steps you're showing.
You're absolutely right. And you know what? The fun part of this is that you can watch my demo, you can embrace whichever parts of it you like, and then you can make it your own. So if you want to skip a few of the steps and just make this into an ornament, why not? I'm sorry, into a pendant, why not? Or I have another thought. You can put a little lobster clasp at the top of it, and this way when you're not wearing it, you can still connect it to an ornament and it can be on your tree. Okay, guys, and so now I'm going to again make a 90-degree angle. Actually, it will be easier to do that with my flat nose pliers. So there we go. We have a 90-degree angle. Here, let me show you the 90-degree angle, like that. So my two loops are going to be parallel to one another, meaning they're going to be on the same plane, like a little figure eight. And you know what? If you're making presents, a pendant may be a good idea if you know the person would rather wear it than, because you usually know the person you're giving it to. So you could make it either way, as either a pendant or an ornament. Okay, guys, I guess I kind of got excited about putting the presents underneath the Christmas tree. That's where I was going with it. Okay, so I'm making another loop, and this one is going to be slightly smaller. Oh my gosh, I don't know how, but I kind of mangled it just a little. No worries, we'll do a little course correcting. It happens. Okay, and now we are going to put the ring into the loop. And again, holding on to the loop, we're going to wrap. And this time we are wrapping right over the previous coils. So it's very much like when we make an organically wrapped loop. So it's exactly like that. So the first set of coils is now underneath the second set of coils. And of course, remember to pinch that little end in. Okay, so now we have our tree in the frame. So I feel like it's easiest to just make this component separately and then use the white bead with the snowflake to connect the two. So we are going to start making another wrap loop yet. And this one is going to be a little bit on the larger side because this is going to be around the frame. Ta-da. And we just need a couple of coils. And you know, when you cut off that little tail, the excess wire, it's always a good thing to get as close as you possibly can, because sometimes, you know, people complain that they have a difficult time pinching in that tail, like it just does not want to wrap around. Well, the trick is just don't leave a tail, or leave as little of a tail as you possibly can. So now this is going to be my second wrap loop, so of course I have to leave a little bit of space. And this one does not have to be quite as large. And so now this is going to be my little connector. And we're going to coil into that little space I left. So here's what I mean. If you hold your cutter with the flat side to whatever you're cutting, and you get so close that there's almost no tail at all, it's going to be a lot easier to just give it a quick little pinch, and that's it, done. You don't have to worry about that little tail not wrapping the way you want. Okay, so let's flip this over so that the tree, the Christmas tree, is on the inside. And I'm just going to do one more link for this one, and then I'll move on to the next project. So next we are going to connect right to this link right here, the one that's holding the Christmas tree. I feel like it's not quite as intuitive as what happens next, so I think it's a good idea to demo it. And of course, you know, as we make these loops, we just keep connecting as we go. And again, just a couple of little coils will do it. So, oh, and I just broke my own rules. Did you see how long that tail is? That's not good. That's going to be a little hard to wrap. So I just made it a little shorter. In fact, a lot shorter. So all I have to do is just pinch it in. So just like that. Okay, so that's the back. This is the front. Okay, ladies, and what goes on this wire is this very, very pretty little faceted bead. So I love this little faceted bead. I hope you can see how beautiful it is. It's partially matte and partially high polished. So it just looks kind of frosted. It looks very, very wintry. And let's make another 90-degree angle and another loop. So this is really all about making these little wrap loop links, and that's really all that is. So you guys know how to do that. So for me, making loops is just so very zen, you know, because it's just repetition, and it just, I don't know, sometimes it just feels really good to sit down and make a whole bunch of loops. And get really close. Pinch the little end in. And so we can really see our little ornament shaping up already. Okay, so I think I'll make the last couple of loops later, but let me just do a quick show and tell. So next I'm going to have the little star, and I love this little star. It is two-sided. Of course, I like the more ornate side better because it looks so kind of old-fashioned and nice, you know. It's very holiday-ish. And then the last link is going to be this little frosted bead. And as you connect the little frosted bead, we're also going to connect a little bit of the chain to the last loop. And that's all there is to this ornament. So was this easy? Let me know. Do you guys have any questions? I feel like there's just a little bit like, well, it's not even that there are that many techniques that are happening, but the way that they're used, the loops themselves are not quite as straightforward as normally. So this is the Holiday Memories Suncatcher or ornament. So you can put in your window, you can put it on your tree, you can put it on your packaging, you can put it in a well, I suppose stocking stuffer, that's kind of done because that would have been St. Nick's. So, wait a minute. Or is it just, I think it's mostly in Wisconsin, right? We have St. Nick's. So, when do you guys do your stocking stuffers? Let me know in the comments. And because, I did not grow up with that tradition.
Allie says, so cool. Love the colors and the crystals.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellie. I'm going to say this is probably my favorite one, maybe.
Kim K says, so cute.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Fonda says, these are so pretty.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Cheryl says, love them all. The hard part is picking which ones I want.
Well, Cheryl, the best part is that you're not limited to one. Okay, ladies, so moving right along. So we have made the turquoise lagoon. We have made the holiday memories one. And now we are going to make snowflake suncatcher.
Allie says this would for sure go on my neck. Stockings for St. Nick's, round 2 on Christmas morning.
Oh, yay! Okay, so wait a minute. You said round 2. So please tell me, when is round 1?
And on St. Nick's.
Oh, so it is on St. Nick's. So I was not entirely wrong. Cool.
I think people keep them up.
Well,
through December.
But the first set of gifts are on St. Nick's, which actually, my birthday is the eve of St. Nick's. That makes me happy.
Trudy says, all creative.
Thank you so much, Trudy. Okay, ladies, so this next one, it's actually not all that different. It's really quite intuitive, but I feel like I want to demo it at least just a little bit because this one attaches right to the snowflake. So if anybody's kind of new to wire work, I feel like it's maybe helpful to show it. Okay, guys, so again, I'm just making a 90-degree angle. And now we're going to make a loop. And before we make the loop, we're going to sneak that little snowflake right into the loop. So that possibly is the only not super intuitive part. And before I start wrapping, I'm going to bring the wire to, as close to a 90-degree angle as I can. Because when you make these coils, the closer you are to a 90-degree angle, the easier it is to make a nice tight coil.
Lonnie is wondering what size wire are you using?
Oh, thank you for asking, Lonnie. I am using 20 gauge wire. This one, can you guys see? It happens to be a patterned wire. It's actually very pretty and sparkly. And it has this little twist in the wire, which I really feel like it goes so well with not just the snowflake, but just kind of the general mood of the ornament, because it just looks a little bit more festive, I guess. Okay, guys, so now we're going to string on 6 of these little double terminated crystals. So we have these little crystals that look a little bit like Herkimer diamonds, and I know that most of you know what those are, except of course these are not natural Herkimer diamonds, but these are just so pretty and sparkling, and they are drilled through the side. That's why they're going to stack up in such a cute way.
Carol says, hello, everyone.
Hi, Carol, and thanks for joining us.
Jane says, good evening from Mineral Bluff, Georgia. That's so pretty.
Hello, Jane, and thank you so much.
Fonda says, happy belated birthday. My birthday is the first day of winter.
Oh, yay, Fonda. So yours is coming, and thank you so much for happy birthday, and I hope you have a wonderful birthday. So yours is coming up. I hope you have something fun planned.
Allie says, we have 2 sets of stockings for St. Nick's and Christmas morning. Lots of candy and fun smaller gifts.
Oh, cute. So you actually have different stockings. So please I am so fascinated. Tell me how those are different. Are they like a different size? Is it just like for the sake of just more what am I thinking? More ornaments, or does it actually have a different function? Okay, so I have these 6 little crystals stacked up. Don't they stack up like so cute? I mean, just look at how adorable these are. They're actually like a little drop if you look at them like this. But of course, if you bunch them up, they will stack up so that every other one is facing a different direction. And of course, you know, it doesn't hurt to help them a little bit. And once we wrap that loop into place, it will stay that way permanently. So I'm going to bend the wire again to a 90-degree angle and start my loop. And I'm going to make sure that as I start wrapping, my crystals are in the pattern that I want them. So you can see they're stacked up like that. And now I am just going to make sure that I make a nice tight little wrap. Actually, I did not leave a whole lot of room for my coils. So I am just going to have 2, which is really a perfect number. And again, we'll snip off the excess wire and pinch in that little end. And now our little crystals are just going to stay in place, and this is what it looks like from the other side, because of course the snowflake is a little different on the 2 sides. Okay guys, and next we have these lovely little drops. I am kind of obsessed with these drops right now. I use them for one of the snowman heads, and now we're going to stack them up a little bit differently.
Allie says, St. Nick's stockings are handmade and hand-beaded from my hubby's Polish grandma. And Christmas stockings are from my mom, store-bought, but embellished with ribbons.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful legacy from, well, both from the grandma and from the mom. That is so nice.
Kim K says, I made an Advent stocking garland for my mantle when my kids were growing up. They took turns opening stockings each day.
Oh, that's so fun. Wow, opening stockings each day. That's a different kind of tradition. You know, I love hearing about these different traditions. In fact, one of the ladies shared last week about how she grew up on a farm, and I'm trying to remember, and they would go and feed the animals like a special snack on Christmas Day. I thought it was so cute. Okay, guys, so do you see the shape of this lovely little drop? I love this so much. So one side is very slender, or kind of slender, and the other is a bit more rounded or squared. So the The slender side is going to go up like this, and so then we're going to string a little rondelle on, and then we're going to string the next little drop so that the two slender sides are facing one another, and in fact they're going to fit into that little rondelle. So it just kind of stacks up like little tiny Legos like that. So I think it just makes kind of a fun little whimsical ornament. And of course now we are going to bend the wire and make another loop yet. And holding on to the loop, we are just wrapping into the little space we left. We always try to leave a space for about 2 coils. And so it will vary with the different gauges of wire. But my rule of thumb is whatever the gauge of our wire, I try to leave about 2 coils worth of space to wrap into. And this is what it looks like. So to finish the ornament, we are simply going to add 2 more of the same type of components. So the component where we have that squat little drop, a rondelle, and then another drop facing it. And that's it. That's the entire snowflake ornament. Okay, ladies, so I think I'm going to finish this one a little later because I just want to show you the rest of them and maybe see if you have any questions.
Allie says, just beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much, Allie. So, so the rest of them, I'm just doing it as kind of a show and tell. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. So I think I will start with all 3 of the beachcomber icicles. And I have the reef, the nautilus, and the cone. Okay, so these 3 obviously are made in the very same way. The only thing that is going to differ are the shells. So we have 2 natural shells with silver accents, and we have 1 shell that is made out of metal. And I will show you the other side of it, just so you know. It's 2-sided, just in case if you're hanging it somewhere where you can actually see both sides. And of course, with the natural shells, well, they look exactly like what you would find on the beach, except that they do have little silver highlights. And so the way we would make these is just like how I made, well, let's say this guy. Oh, well, actually, no, I didn't demo. But okay, so you remember when we just made the shooting star icicle and we strung all the beads. So you start with a loop, you string the beads. In the case of the beachcomber ornaments, we have little seed beads in between each one of the shell beads. I hope you guys can tell these are actually little shells. I love these. They look like little what is this shell? Like a cherry stone. Like you guys know cherry stones, right? They're delicious.
They remind me of a quahog.
Yeah, like a quahog, if you know, from the East Coast. So there are a lot of those bivalves. So so this is like a little shell, and they're spaced with 11 O seed beads, and that's it. So when you make the bottom loop, at the same time, you simply connect to the shell. There's not an extra jump ring like we have with the star. So that's really the only difference. So the shooting star, I had to use the extra jump ring because it doesn't have a bail, but rather a hole right through. And what I really didn't want to do is crush that little star in the process of making the loop. So that's the reason for the extra little jump ring, which I think works really well. And let's see. So then we did not make the dragonfly, so we'll do this one as a show and tell.
Kim K says, so unique and beautiful.
Thank you so much, Kim. I really appreciate it. So when you make the dragonfly ornament, you start, well, at least I like to start at the bottom. I don't know, it just makes sense to me. So you start by making a larger loop. If you have a bail making pliers, the medium bail making pliers, the larger side of the medium bail making pliers will work really, really well for that larger loop. And so, of course, before you wrap the loop, you string that beautiful Swarovski drop into the loop, wrap the loop, add the bead, make another loop, then you make the dragonfly component, and of course, you connect all the loops as you go. So the dragonfly component consists of 5 little bicones, then the dragonfly wings, then you string on the 4mm bead, the 4mm round, make your loop, then you make the link with the 8mm sapphire bead, and finally another link with the 3 bicones. And my top loop generally is larger than some of the other loops just for the ease of hanging it. So these are a bit larger.
Jane says, love the dragonfly.
Oh, thank you so much, Jane. All right, ladies, so what have we not seen yet?
The blue Baroque.
The blue, oh yes, the blue Baroque. So
icicle.
Yes, so the blue Baroque icicle is this one. It's a little bit not like the others because it does have the tassel at the bottom. It's my only icicle with the tassel. I don't know, it just occurred to me, why not put the tassel at the bottom? And this one is so simple. Like literally, this is all it contains. It's just these 3 beads like that and 2 of the little sparkly beads that go in between, and of course the wire and the tassel. So it's very straightforward. You just make your loop, you string all the beads spaced with the sparkly beads, and the sparkly beads are really quite wonderful. They have that little concave side, so each, where the hole is, that is concave on both ends. So what happens is it holds your beads beautifully. So it literally kind of just holds everything in place like that.
Carmen says they're all beautiful.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Okay, so what do you guys think? Do you have any questions whatsoever about how anything is made? I feel like we went over everything, but sometimes it's not apparent to me what someone may have a question about. So please do not be shy. I love your questions because not only is it your question, but it helps out anybody who might be watching later. So let me know if there's something I forgot. And in the meantime, I will tell you about our schedule and the events coming up. So this coming Friday, and again, remember, there's no video on Thursday. So this video replaces the Thursday video just for this week. And we do have a shopping event coming up, and it's going to be a super fun shopping event. I have a really awesome surprise for you. I have some amazing raku beads at a super crazy good price. And of course, there's so many other surprises. And just like I said, all of my Friday videos, my shopping events through the holidays are going to include a gift with purchase. So that's probably the best part of it, because who does not like gifts? And okay, so this is what's coming up. So Friday, we have the shopping event that includes raku, lampwork, pearls, and more. And that is going to be December 15th at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on the Eclectica page. And then next Thursday, when we resume the Thursday videos, so this is going to be December 21st, I'm going to be making the Circle of Facets bracelet tutorial. And this is going to be on my jewelry design page, where you're on right this moment. So this one is almost finished. It's not quite finished yet, because there'll be like something fun hanging from these loops. But in the meantime, it's been quite a long time since we have made a memory wire bracelet. And if you guys have not ever made a memory wire bracelet, this is what one looks like. So I will have some different designs of memory wire bracelets. And I know that it's getting so close to Christmas, but my thought is that memory wire bracelets are not just for Christmas. You can wear them anytime, and especially what I had in mind was New Year's Eve. So I will have some fun blingy memory wire bracelets, and these are going to be, well, this one is called Circles of Facets.
Allie says, woohoo, beautiful memory wire bracelet. Looks like pomegranate.
Oh,
maybe we just found a color name.
Perhaps, Allie, maybe, yes. I think you just gave us a name. I think pomegranate it is. Maybe you should be on our naming team. What do you think? And Fonda, I know you asked for the memory wire ornament. I did not forget. I'm just running out of time for Christmas, you know, to get them to you guys for Christmas. Of course, if you're local, it's a lot easier. You just run in and get your ornament kit. But I will try to get one more ornament in. And who knows? You might get it before Christmas, or maybe it's for next year. I guess it will just be a surprise. But I'm trying to get that squeezed in. Okay, ladies. And I know most of you probably have no idea which ornament I'm talking about. So maybe something to look forward to for next Thursday. It'll be a surprise, and we all like surprises. Okay, ladies, so here are all my fun little icicles and sun catchers, and any of these can be an ornament. And for anybody who joined me in the middle of the video, I'm just going to say this again. This is a little bit exciting because we did run out of the blue spruce ornament. So this is blue spruce, and this was my most popular ornament last week. So we ran out, and then we found a few more of our vintage components. So we can make about 12 more, but that's it. and they're back in the Etsy shop. And if this is something you wanted last week and didn't get because we ran out, this is really going to be the last time ever, because we are simply not able to get most of these vintage components. Okay, guys, in the meantime, there are so many different ornaments in the Etsy shop, because the last few weeks I have been exploring all sorts of sparkly and non-sparkly snowman. We have different themes of snowman and Christmas trees and angels and their earrings and ornaments and just all sorts of fun holiday kits. So please peruse, pick your favorites, and at this point we still most likely have enough time to get them to you before Christmas. So in the meantime, I hope you join me this Friday for the shopping event, and there are going to be some really special pieces in this Friday's event, even if I say so myself. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for all of your wonderful comments. And as always, have a wonderful and creative week.